The rich and powerful want us to think the economy is a line on a stock market ticker. That's wrong. The economy is powered by us. It's what we create, what we buy, what we need. President Biden has proposed bold public investments in jobs and families, but more is needed. We need housing, healthcare, caregiving, action on the climate crisis, and millions of good-paying jobs. This is our moment to finally unlock prosperity for all of us. For more information, go to prosperus.org. That's prosperus.org.
What am I doing with this paper shredder? Well, now that C Spire offers no contract $45 unlimited plan, I don't need to hold on to all these contracts. We're going to need a bigger paper shredder. Keep your number, skip the contract. With no contract $45 unlimited. Terms and conditions apply. See cspire.com/no contract for plan details.
And let's see here. Who else has showed up? Stu Gerson.
Stu.
There you are. Aliens visit here. Good to see you, my lovely friend. Gabe Roca. Nice to have you back. Sith Lord. Good to see you. Open-minded Clarity. Nice to have you here. Jello Putin. Smokin' Joe. Millennium. Marty Burback. How are you? Little Davey Altman is here, everyone. Little Davey Altman. Hey, Nikki. How are you? Good to see you, hon. And Chad Palmer, nice to have you here. Mental Pancakes. Uncle Dale and his Power Stash. Remember, if you see Uncle Dale in Austin, Texas, rub his Power Stash for 14 days of good luck. 509er, nice to see you. Tim Scott, good to see you here. I don't know what happened with Tony Merkel tonight. I don't know. I got to talk to my scheduling people, so I apologize. Gorgeous Renee. Mentira, nice to have you here from Mexico. Jesse Peak, Flash Forward. Jeff Steve Garvey. Stetson John. Wizard Gren, nice to have you all here. Vincent Proto, good to see you here, my friend. And Steve Stockton from KPNL. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Kurt Seltzer with a splash of lime. Joe Smith, good to see you. Helen Jepson, or Yepison. There we go. Here we go, everyone. Mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor and hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter on Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. I got to tell you, I'm always excited when one of my favorite people in ufology comes on. Nicole Sakich may be one of the newer faces, but she has shown a powerful voice in research in the last year and a half. Maintaining a steadfast approach to unearthing information on the subject at large, Nicole is exceptional in her focus and priority. Based out of Illinois, she currently works as an assistant under the legendary researcher and author Grant Cameron. She is also a favorite of our listeners here on this show. Nicole exercises her expertise to fine-tune details regarding UFO secrets, clandestine documents, and investigating the long and proud research of Stanton Friedman, and Nicole Sakich is her YouTube channel. We want to make sure all of our listeners go on over after this show, not during, but after this show, and subscribe to her channel. The lovely and talented Nicole Sakich, it is always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
Dave, I'm great. This is the perfect way to end my Tuesday. So thank you so much.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. I love it that you're here, and I'm always appreciative when I get an opportunity to talk to you, not just on a personal level, but on a professional level as well. And, full disclosure here, I would say you are one of my best friends in ufology. And
Aw.
I'm very, very appreciative. Nicole and I literally talk every day. Every day. Maybe on the weekends we take some time off, but literally we are talking UFOs every day. And Nicole, I got to say, from my point of view, when I first interviewed you on this show a couple of years ago to where you are now, you have literally skyrocketed like a SpaceX rocket into the stratosphere with your knowledge and your ability to really become a major player and voice of reason in this community, and your hard work has paid off. Congratulations on that.
Oh, Dave, that was the best intro ever. And yep, you were definitely one of my go-to. I have to talk to you and get your opinion about everything I check in on every day. So it's nice, though. I think you and I developing a friendship is exactly the kind of touchstones that everybody needs in this community if they're going to give it a go and try to be in the public forum at all. You have to have your inner circle and, look out for each other. And I don't know, you were the first public platform to give me a voice and talk about my experiences and also, like you said, my research. So,
How
and
is
it's just based on hunting my experience. So,
how have you enjoyed going from relatively unknown in this community just a year and a half, 2 years ago, to literally being booked for conferences and people are calling you all the time. People are putting you in that echelon of people in the know. I mean, it's been a rapid year and a half for you. How have you kept it together?
honestly, it's overwhelming. And I just try to be a yes person. Early on, it was just a goal of mine to simply be able to network and be able to have a vast group of very different friends, because when you're serious about looking into this community, you soon realize that it's not everybody isn't the same. You do have to extend that. You want to get along with everybody. You want to be interested in what they're researching, even though, you may or may not agree with everything. But I think it's important to come together. And when I decided to kind of venture into the public forum and really join groups and put my voice out there, yeah, it's hard to do at first, but you learn and you live through it. And here I am. I didn't ever expect that when I, joined Facebook groups 4 years ago that I would be, at MegaCon 3 years later. That's just still mind blowing to me. And yeah, it's given me a different perspective, I think, on this community. You always hear things, but once you experience them yourself, you kind of can gauge the situation a little differently. So it's been very eye-opening, and it's the best part of the last 3 years have been the unexpected detours that I've made. Just to put my experiencer hat on for a second, just the synchronicities that have happened that have led me to where I'm at. I could have never have imagined them or tried to see this for myself ever. So it's been great.
What have you enjoyed about learning about the other side of the UFO community that you weren't so used to in the past?
What have I enjoyed?
What have you enjoyed?
I think what I enjoy the most is when I force myself into the rabbit holes that I haven't dove into before. And when I find myself getting a little, uncomfortable is the wrong word, but when I find myself in like that territory that I haven't explored before, and when I hear something new about an encounter or an experience, or for example, just today, you said hi to our friend Davey Altman.
Little Davey Altman, yes.
Room. He turned me on to this YouTube channel he found that is full of old radio broadcasts in ufology. And I was scrolling through them this morning, and lo and behold, I found an old Linda Moulton Howe report/update on one of my favorite cases that nobody ever knows anything about. So that was just great. I found I felt like I found a gemstone, and yeah. So now I have a whole new avenue to dig into on that case that I've been looking into, I think, for 5 years now. So, and that was just completely random, but I like that. And it's always that moment where somebody's like, well, I came across this, let me send you this. And then you never know where that leads. And often what I'm finding now that I've been doing this pretty much full time in my spare time, but really, studying ufology for close to 25 years now, or a little over 25 years now. It's always great when you can find something that leads you back to the beginning, when you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't come across this in, 10 years. And now all of a sudden you have another puzzle piece and you can take it a little further. So it always surprises me how much patience that you realize you don't even have in this, but it's there all along.
For you, what have you learned about yourself? Have you had to learn patience? Have you had to learn trust? Because the entire world of ufology is so up in the air right now, whether it's the storylines, the narrative, where the news is coming from, who is breaking the news, who can you trust with information, who you can't.
I've learned to trust my gut instinct, or we joke and say spidey senses, or, your experience or feely, emotions. Like, I've really learned that I can trust that. I don't have to always try to second guess it. And it kind of pays off when you talk to a lot of people on social media. You get the feelers for somebody that, you want to continue talking to them and see what they have to say about a certain case, or, something that they came across that's interesting, or, you can gauge your gut feeling like, no, maybe this is for somebody else to dig into. So I've learned kind of situations like that. And of course, I think everybody who's an experiencer that starts researching, at first I think everybody is very closed off from everybody in the community. They don't know who they can trust. They don't know, who's lying or what might be flamboyant, so you spend so much time introverted that I think after meeting some allies in this community and them being so encouraging to me that, I got to rely on the fact that I have gained a lot of knowledge over the last couple decades. And that became more and more clear to me the more groups I joined and people did start asking me questions, or I could turn them to books that I've read and they could look up the information themselves. And that's a lot of fun too, is not really telling everybody everything that you know, but being able to reference them to dig and find their own information, because I think we all interpret things a different way sometimes. And in this community, when everything is so unprovable, it's kind of good to have everybody's differing opinions in the hat, I think. So I've picked up Grant's rambling too. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I can just go on and on and on.
But the big thing, Nicole, is there is a huge difference between being an experiencer and being a researcher. A researcher, you need to be a little bit more level-headed. You need to be a little bit more skeptical, a little bit more concise. Whereas with being an experiencer like you are, like I am, and many of our audience are, we're in the midst of searching for our answers and relying on people who've never had the experience to try and bring us those answers. So how do you balance the two?
Oh, it's tough. Honestly, I think what gives me a little bit of the level-headedness is I really turned away from my experiencer side. I feel like an experiencer newborn in a lot of ways because I've learned so much about how to deal with my own experiences over the last, I would say, 3 years, 2 years. And so spending the bulk of my searching years from that nuts and bolts point of view, where I thought I was hunting down something that was absolutely going to be physical, that there were, the government absolutely had something and I'd be able to find, that evidence, or somebody would spill the beans sometime, like the current situation we're in now. But I think once I ventured into the experiencer side of this community, instead of just trying to wear the nuts and bolts researcher hat, that's when my research opened up into other avenues. And I think I've been able to dive deeper or use what I've contemplated from my own experiences. And I've been able to bring that into where I let my research take me, I guess you could say. Like, one thing Grant and I have always kind of continually talked about is this music theme, with ufology. And yes, it's fun to hunt down rock stars and hear their sighting stories, or play the number one song that goes to the chart that, is about UFOs or aliens. But just the fun thing for me to realize that, the soundtrack that I made, that I played the night I had my sighting, was just so full of experiencer music, of musicians who had experiences. And to know like that synchronicity kind of led me to Grant and Grant's work and his which his experience involves music as well. So those avenues from a nuts and bolts perspective, I never would have ventured into, more than, playing the Moody Blues has a song, more than just that level of music and ufology. So, and it's led me to artists and painting, and, it's just fascinating.
For you though, we've got 7 minutes before we got to go to break. Because the one story that I love of yours is the rock story. Okay.
You want me to go get the rocks?
I would love you you don't need to get the rocks, but I would love for you to take us through in that 7 minutes what happened to you, because this one seemed to hit home, because you and I have had a few synchronicities over the last couple of years that we've been chatting. But this whole thing with the rock, I remember you calling me up, and literally you were crying tears of joy on the phone because you couldn't believe this had happened. Tell us the story.
Okay, so for 25 years, I've skywatched since my first sighting, and I often go to the same location. And we know that you as an experiencer can often have symptoms and you feel like something's going to happen, and a sighting could happen, or maybe like a telepathic download or some noetic experience. Well, my experiencer symptoms had been acting up kind of all week, and I knew I had to go to my sighting spot. So I got to speed up the story. I went out there, nothing was there. 2 hours later, everybody in the community around me starts lighting up Facebook. Something's here. Something's in the sky. Who can tell me what this is? So I, of course, being the UFO lady around here, catch wind of this. And I'm like, I knew it. Fly back out to my spot. Still nothing there. And I know I'm leaving out like the juicy suspense parts. But so what I didn't mention is this spot is our county kind of rock surplus to rock roads. So there's always these big giant mounds of rocks, 20, sometimes 25 feet tall, you know. So I'm out there, I'm standing on top of this rock pile, I'm panning around, doing a 360, trying to see what people are reporting, seeing in the sky. And I'm all pissed because nothing's there. And I come down this rock pile, I'm throwing my cameras into my car, and I turn around and I look up, and it's directly above me. And it was this teardrop, sort of almost translucent thing just hanging in the sky. And I didn't expect it to affect me how it did, but the first thing I did do was burst into tears. And I was like, oh my God, this is really happening. I'm seeing this. Like, and instantaneously I was like, get your shit together. You've been waiting for this for 25 years, you know? And that's when I pulled out my camera, and I just I used to have a group of friends that we talked about going Facebook Live if we ever saw something while we were sky watching. So that's what I did. Flipped open my phone, and I caught this thing on camera for close to 5 minutes. And it started doing this light pop in and out thing. And I'm playing Dave Matthews blaring out of my car, laughing my butt off. And I'm going, you know, thank you. Are you guys seeing this? I'm talking to my friends on Facebook Live, and they were kind of chiming in, yes, it's red now. Yes, it just turned yellow. And it was just this light flare that it was doing was just amazing. And then poof, it was gone. And then poof, it was back. And so after it left for the last time, I'm like so pumped. It was like I was just yelling to this thing and trying to hold the camera still. And I was like, thank you. And it's like, I knew I had to leave. Like something was telling me it's okay to leave. It wasn't going to come back. So I went to a second location, still couldn't see it again from anywhere else. So I decided to go home. And usually my dog is at the back door, and he wasn't at the back door. So I go in my house, flip on some lights. I find my dog upstairs, and in my center hallway between the bedrooms, there's giant puddle.
What am I doing with this paper shredder? Well, now that C Spire offers no contract, $45 unlimited plan, I don't need to hold on to all these contracts. We're going to need a bigger paper shredder. Keep your number, skip the contract. With no contract, $45 unlimited. Terms and conditions apply. See cspire.com/no contract for plan details. What am I doing with this paper shredder? Well, now that C Spire offers no contract, $45 unlimited plan, I don't need to hold on to all these contracts. We're going to need a bigger paper shredder. Keep your number, skip the contract. With no contract, $45 unlimited. Terms and conditions apply. See cspire.com/no contract for plan details.
And my dog is under my bed, just scared, like will not come out. And so I finally coax him out, and I come back down my stairs, and I'm entering into my dining room / office / ufology workstation. And I sat down, just kind of where I'm at now. I lean forward to untie my shoe, and like right in front of my nose on this table is this small pile of all these little tiny rocks just sitting right there. And that's when I called you, and I was kind of like, oh my God, there's a pile of rocks. I think I've had an apport. I think they were in my house. Like, this is an affirmation. I think they were saying I saw you too. Like, I don't know. I should have recorded that phone call because I'm sure I was talking 2 times faster than Grant Cameron level talking. So, but it was amazing. And I kept the rocks. I photographed my entire, you know, dining room area. Like I took pictures of my dog's pee puddle, and I took a lot on video just to kind of show how my dog was still reacting. And I mean, my dog he's a ferocious half Shih Tzu. I mean, he barks at everybody that comes in the house. He's not like a bark and run off kind of dog. He's a bark at you and come at you until I stop him kind of dog. So I don't know. And that whole experience was a little over a year now. And I have honestly spent the entire last year kind of dumbfounded about it. Like, were the contact modalities that I was using, did they really work? Was this, like this crescendo of 25 years, is that it? Is it going to happen again? Like, your mind wanders. And yeah, so I'm hooked. I'm at least in for another 25 years.
20 seconds. Did you feel a little bit odd that there was something in your house that scared your dog?
Yes and no. It was more like I laugh a lot. I knew when I came to the experiencer side that I would eat a lot of crow sandwiches and have to admit that I was wrong about a lot of things. And I had hardcore so made fun of apports and just kind of thought they were bogus that it felt like a little slap in the face.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Nicole Sakic, research assistant to Grant Cameron, one of the best out there when it comes to researching this topic. She shakes her head no. I say yes. I get the final word. We continue after this. I am so excited right now. Let me tell you why.
Why?
This man here, Fittermouse, that is my guru, my mentor, and my friend Pascal that I brag about.
Oh.
And you've heard me brag about him lots.
Yes, I have.
And he is one of the most special people in my life who has ever come into my life. And I am just so excited that he's here right now. And I'll tell you, my audience that's listening in right now, this man here, Pascal, he literally changed my life for the better in every which way. And I fought it, and I fought it hard. But you know what? He is one of the most genuine, truthful, honest, beautiful people I have ever met on this planet. And there are not enough adjectives to say what I feel right there about my friend Pascal. So the fact that he's in our chat room tonight, I know, honestly, I am getting a little emotional just knowing that he's here. It feels good. It feels really good. He means the world to me.
Aww.
Yeah. He's the man.
He should call in.
He won't. One day when he's ready, I know he'll say it's time. But
I have a few of those that tell me that for interviews all the time.
He's amazing.
Someday.
He is amazing. Dee McKenna, good to see you. Mr. Cowley, welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley loves his spaced out radio. Tony Dewhurst, good to see you, man. Nice to have you here. And who else has joined us late here? Triple M, Mr. Man, Mister, good to see you. And let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, I love the love you guys are showing for Pascal right now, man, because he is War Eagle. War Eagle. He is the reason why I am doing this show. Well, one of the main reasons. Anya, much love to you, beautiful. How are you? Oh, there he is, the man with 18,462 podcasts, all running simultaneously on one channel, Sir Brian Bowden. How you doing, buddy? Look at this.
18,000?
Yeah, look at this nice compliment he gives you. Nicole brings out the best in the world of ufology because she is one of the top 10 in the field.
Aw, Sir Brian.
That is awesome.
Thank you, man.
I would agree with that statement. The gorgeous and talented Jessica Lee has arrived. Stephen Edmond, good to see you. JR, thank you for coming on in. Ivy Smith, welcome back.
So here, Dave, I'm just going to flash this at you real quick.
Yeah.
That right there.
Is that a business card? Is that the official Nicole Sakich business card?
Well, no, but I can show you that.
I didn't even see who that was.
Our good friend Andrew Hotchheimer made these.
Oh, I love them. Love them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And yes, it's okay. I'm showing that information, people. That is how you contact me if you want me to.
If you want to talk woo,
check out stuff. If you want to just chat, UFOs and food. My two favorite topics. But no, remember I was so excited last weekend because my local ufology group / paranormal group was meeting for the first time live since COVID. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I also had an ulterior motive because this whole COVID year I've been waiting and waiting and waiting because I wanted to talk to a certain gentleman at that meeting about, you remember I was fascinated with the tree part of Bledsoe's story?
Yes.
And I was like, wow, tree, I want to dig into this and see if I can come up with other tree scenarios with, experiences. Well, lo and behold, in my local UFO group, I found one.
Nice.
And this gentleman's UFO manifested out of this tree in his backyard. And
hold that thought. We got to go here. Aussie Steve, Aussie Ange, Apollo, Flash, and Flash. Thank you for the super chats. Here we go with the second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are in this beautiful planet we call Earth. And we're going to open up the phones, so to speak, here on the show. So if you're in our chat room, you can click on the link and we will be able to hear your woo story. We want some woo. Before we bring Nicole back on, we want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. We're here with Nicole Sakich, research assistant for Grant Cameron. You've heard her on many roundtables before. Here she is as the lone guest tonight. The lone guest. And what we're going to do, if you are in our YouTube chat tonight watching this, you know what? If you want to join us, we're going to put in the link. We want to hear your woo story. So I never do this. Everybody who listens to this show knows Old Davey never does this. Ever.
That's true.
So tonight is a special night. Try it on out just to see how it goes and see your response. I want to hear your woo story. So make sure you check it on out, and that way we can kind of chime along. Nicole, with your story that you had with the rocks and everything, how did that moment change you, on a personal level? Was it spiritual? Was it love? Was it weirdness? Was it skepticism? How did it change you?
It was all of the above, but I don't want to say it renewed like my perseverance, but it affirmed to me, because you kind of know this because we're friends, but you kind of know that I was catching a lot of flack from my nuts and bolts side of the community, and friends of mine that I still have a lot of friends, but they all wondered why I was diving into the rabbit holes I was diving into. And so in that moment and having that experience happen after, months and months of meditation and working these contact modalities, for it to come to fruition like that was a little bit affirming to me. And I wholeheartedly, I don't want to say I turned my back on nuts and bolts, like I'm not interested in it, but I know now that it is not the only avenue of research that I can pursue. I can't just close off the rest of this in ufology and just stay happy in that little tiny sliver of this community. I've spent, over 20 years in just that world. So, and these same people were wondering why I was talking with Palladians or wanting to meet channels. And, it's just very strange having to kind of defend why I wanted to research stuff. And then to experience, that level, it was affirming. And it was all those things you said as well. I said I've been taken aback this last year. I've still been processing, what actually happened. And I can't say it's, made me any less, in love with researching this, but I don't know. It's like with disclosure. I don't need government disclosure. I also don't think I'm going to get answers for myself definitively. I don't think I'm going to have that. I think whatever I'm doing is for my son or for the next generation, for future ufologists, however you want to put it. So I know that sounds a little depressing, but it also feels really good too. It's like I know I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing. So,
all right, let's go over to Game Vet here, who's coming on in to tell us a woo story. Game Vet, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, good. How you doing? Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
All right, here's a woo story for you if you've ever heard one before. Okay.
Remember, no swearing. No swearing.
Right. Okay, so I can totally relate to Nicole. I also saw on May 16th, 12:45 in the morning, I saw this teardrop-shaped thing coming at me, right? And it was lit up like orange and white and all sorts of different. And as it was coming by, all of a sudden I could see through it. It was whatever this craft was. It looked like, as it got close, it looked like a big solid white light, like an LED light. And then inside this white light, it had little tiny black squares in it, like windows. Okay? And then as the thing got right along next to me, I could see through. It was actually projecting a fog. And the structure on top of this light, you could actually see it. The top of it had a glow around it. And it had, this fog or steam or something pumping out of it. And it was going around the entire craft.
Wow.
And it looked like it was totally flat. Like it looked like I call it an astro train because it looked like a locomotive that was flying in the air. It had no sound to it. And then just after that sighting, I realized a couple days later that we have a garden in the front of the house. And right where I was standing by the garden recording this thing. And I realized that there was actually a rock standing up on end. And it was gray with blue like lines in it. And that night I was wearing a gray shirt with blue pants.
That's a nice little synchronicity.
Yeah, so then not only did I have that sighting, I guess there was a lot of people around the world had that same sighting that was recorded, and it's on YouTube all over the place.
Wow.
One of them was on the SETI Ranch. And the guy's talking about the sighting, and it looks identical to my video. And he says there's a structure on top of it.
No way.
And this thing was it was like metallic, it looked like stainless steel, but it had a kind of a black tint to it. And it was just the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. But it had no sound whatsoever.
Had you seen a UFO before?
Yeah, I've been witnessing this stuff since '93. Back in '93, that's when it first started, and I saw what looked. Me and my buddy were camping. We were in a tent, and all of a sudden, a light turned on that lit up the whole tent brighter than daylight.
Wow!
And I said to my friend, I'm like, "What is that?" And he says, "I don't know." And then it happened again. And I mean, you could literally see I had my hand in front of my face, and I could almost see light smooth through my hand because it turned my hand like that red. Like if you hold a flashlight up to your hand, it turns red like that. That's how bright this was. And then it happened one more time. And I said, dude, I got to go outside and see what this is. And he says, I don't know if that's a good idea. So I opened up the tent. I said, I got to look. I said, if someone's going to beam us up or whatever, we're not in a good spot no matter what. I want to see what's out there. And he says, okay. So I go outside and the light turned on again. It was coming from the sky and it was stationary. And when the light turned on, everything for as far as the eye could see, it was like brighter than daylight. And it was like 1:30 in the morning.
No kidding.
So then the light shut off. Yeah, the light would slowly turn on and slowly turn off. It wasn't like sorry, I'm driving a semi right now.
Oh, can you honk your horn for us if you don't mind?
Sure. Hitting the horn for Dave Scott.
Yes. Yes. Love it. Love it.
So,
did did it hurt your eyes to see it?
Oh, it was so bright. I mean, you had to basically squint and, kind of, just shut your eyes real fast because it was so bright. And then the thing is the light turned on again, but then it wasn't in the same location. It was like in another part of the sky, and it would slowly turn on and turn off. And again, it lit up the whole area clear as daylight.
And do you remember how long that lasted for?
I don't know. I could guess probably, let's see, probably between 6 and 8 seconds from turning on to turning off.
Wow.
And then the lights would, flash back and forth. It probably lasted 4 minutes long doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then just driving truck. I mean, I've seen, me and a coworker of mine, we witnessed those vet spheres. They look like stainless steel balls.
Yeah.
We saw 5 of them on the side of the road where the cops sit in between the 2 highways. He was like 15 to 20 minutes behind me, and I saw him on the side of the road. There was 3 on top, 2 on the bottom. They were evenly spaced in a straight line, and I thought I was seeing stuff. I'm like, that can't be right. I mean, you don't just see that. And it looked fake. What I was looking at looked like it was like a computer picture or something just sitting there. And I'm like, okay, well, that's weird, So I kept driving along. And then all of a sudden I got to my stop. I was sitting in the break room. And then my coworker, he comes in. He was driving along the same highway as me or whatever. And he was just stone-faced. And I said, are you okay, buddy? He says, yeah, I'm okay. And then he goes to turn in his paperwork, sits next to me. And all I said was, did you happen to see anything tonight? And he says, Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. I saw what looked like these stainless steel basketball-sized orb things. There's 3 on the top and 2 on the bottom hovering over the road. They were like 2.5 feet off the ground. Now, this guy, he races a Top Fuel dragster on the weekends. You know, he's a race car driver, stuff like that. I haul hazmat, all sorts of different goofy stuff I haul, you know. So, I mean, I'm a professional driver. He's a professional driver. We both witnessed this stuff. It's just ridiculous.
No kidding.
It is out there, man. It's if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one day I want to bring on a bunch of truckers such as yourself and just have a show, because you guys see so much on the road.
Honestly,
It's incredible what you see.
It's my daughter's having a sleepover with 5 of her friends, but I know just the place to go to get something for everybody and just a little something for myself too meal. There's a meal for every moment on the McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu.
Like a 4 for $4 deal. Get a McDouble and add 4-piece chicken McNuggets, small fries, and a medium soft drink for $4. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meal.
What am I doing with this paper shredder? Well, now that C Spire offers no contract, $45 unlimited plan, I don't need to hold on to all these contracts. We're going to need a bigger paper shredder. Keep your number, skip the contract. With no contract, $45 unlimited. Terms and conditions apply. See cspire.com/no contract for plan details.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a dash cam and all sorts of different cameras just to pick, just to get this stuff on camera. And the crazy thing is I've seen 2, what do you call it? They're light blue. I saw 2 light blue craft that actually buzzed my truck, and they were maybe a foot apart from each other, and they were huge, and they were just out of my my camera range where it didn't pick it up on camera. So there's a lot of instances where they're out there and I see it, but then the camera doesn't see it because it's just out of the camera range to pick it up.
I think that's almost purposeful.
Yeah, it's like, hi, I see you, you see me, bye-bye, you know.
I love that part where you talked about it emanating like the mist or something. Like my teardrop, when I started doing that light show, it almost like it flared out like this almost sheer thing. And that thing is what was changing colors, because I went from having it on camera, and then when it disappeared after about 5 minutes, I put my camera down and it came back, and I grabbed my monocular and I was looking at it through that. And that's when I could see like the teardrop almost looked like a pinpoint, but this light flare thing was almost translucent. It was so crazy. Like, it was great.
Yeah, with the one I saw, I was using a Psionics camera, and that uses like infrared light, and it changes all the light spoofy colors like purple and whatever. So when I recorded mine, it actually, with the fog it was emitting and how the color was on the solid light, it actually turned it purple. So the light looked purple, and then it was going slow enough where I could record it with my cell phone camera. And then with the cell phone camera, it changed the light to like a gray color.
Wow. See, my cameras, on camera, it looked white, but my dialogue going with the video running, like, and my friends that were reporting in on that as they were seeing it too, like, with the naked eye, it was all colors. On my shitty camera, it was all white. So,
wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, you could see it blink. You know what I mean? It just wasn't that defined light show. So,
Game Vet, thank you so much for calling in, man. Really do appreciate that. You continue to drive safe, and and let us know about those stories, okay?
Yeah, definitely. One more for the road, big guy.
Sure. Yes. That is just the best. That is the best right there. Game Vet, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. We're waiting for another person to come on in here and continue on here. We're just waiting. Their device isn't connected yet, so we got to try and get Aliens Visit here. We're waiting for you. While we're waiting, there's a question here from C.R. Ruan. I'm agnostic, the UFO question. However, Ms. Sakich and Grant Cameron are two of the most committed and comprehensive researchers in a field, and I'll leave it at that. So, this is the impact. I wanted to bring this up because this is the impact that you are having, Nicole, working with Grant and just getting your own feet out there to the public and bringing high-quality information out there. How do you go about deciphering what's good and what's bad?
I really don't think that's for me to decide. I mean, like I said, there's so many facets to this community that I think if you think you have an open mind, you need to open it even more, and just dive in and listen to what people have to say and where their work has led them. And, if they're an experiencer, of course, listen to their experience. I mean, we all talk about disclosure and government disclosure, and we're going to have answers, but there's, I think, a certain faction of us in this field that know that it's from the experiencers. Like, even the government is looking at experiencers. Like, they don't have answers. They're looking to our community. So I'm going to continue to look in our community and speak with experiencers because that's where it's at.
A lot of people out there, as we wait, 1 second, Alien Visit's here. Beverly, I know you were trying to get in. For some reason, it was not connecting. Retry and get in here, and we'll get you on the show. But for people who don't know where to look for information, there's a lot of brilliant people out here in the UFO field, but they all have a different message. How do you go about deciphering which message is the proper one?
I think that's a personal thing for an individual. I mean, there's so many camps, and I think I said earlier, I like to network and make friends and build bridges, but I don't ever want to be, I'm in a clique or I only run with, the Palladians, things like that. Like, I think when you turn to people in the community in these, I want to maybe specialized little pockets, like let's say, let's use channeling for example. So if that kind of speaks to you and for some reason you want to start diving into that or finding out, it's pretty quickly that you come across maybe 3 or 4 names of these people are really big. And I think, I'm going to say Daryl Anka always comes up, Bashar. So, I mean, once you kind of know the go-to and who has been around for decades and decades and hasn't been ran out on a rail or, they're not super controversial. In this fringe world, when you find somebody who's not controversial, that leads you to maybe pay attention to them more. But honestly, it's kind of like with boyfriends or relationships. When you get too many red flags looking into something, then stop looking into it. If it's not speaking to you, don't look into it. If it fascinates you and you want to learn more, keep diving in, and I haven't found a single facet in ufology that has made me go, that's it. And this is the only it. This is home. This is my family. It's always little snippets. I can find a little bit that makes sense to me in this. I can, find something that has reminded me of something else so I can link it, and it's those little tiny baby steps. Like, you never get the whole answer. You get one word in a sentence. And
I hear you. We're having some troubles with Bev in her connection there, trying to get in. Let's go to Max's question. As we got about 2.5 minutes here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Nicole Sakic is our guest tonight. Max is asking, is it possible that some of these transparent craft are actually portals?
I've come across that before where the transparency is either the craft can change or it truly is transparent, or you hear about this transparent light thing and then the craft do come through. So I can't say I rule it out or I would ever dare say, nope, they're not.
Well, that's the thing. You just can't rule anything out right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just can't because
No.
everything is open. Because what you see, and what a lot of people don't understand, is what you see, Nicole, could be completely different from the experience that I'm having. And you and I are, say, side by side.
Right.
You may see a teardrop. I may see nothing in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a big part of it, too, that people don't get. Like, that's not brought up a lot when you talk about mass sightings. Everybody thinks they're gold. You know, it's like, oh, man, how many people saw the Phoenix Lights? And yes, it's great. They all described the same thing. That's kind of rare. If you have 2 people, they're going to report seeing 2 different things. If you have 5, it's going to be 5 different things. I find it's often rare that everybody describes the same thing at once. Even my teardrop encounter, like some people said it wasn't really a teardrop. It was more of a sphere. You know, other people said it was like completely flat, like it didn't have like a 3D form. So, you know.
Absolutely. As we got about 39 seconds here. You know, it just amazes me how people can have such major experiences and everything can be absolutely different. Absolutely different. And, you know, we want to make sure that everyone gets their time. So I'm going to put the link back in our YouTube channel if you want to join us in hour 2. And if you're using a computer, make sure you're using either Firefox or the best one is Google Chrome in order to hook on up with our StreamYard link in order to connect with us if you want to share your woo story. Because we like the woo around here. Nicole's got woo. I've got woo. And I'm sure, well, we definitely know Game Vet, who is honking the trucker horn there, he's got the woo. He's got serious woo. And we love it. And we appreciate each and every one of you tuning on in as we continue on with Spaced Out Radio tonight, talking UFOs all night long, your stories as well. So sit back, relax. Hour 2 with the lovely and talented Nicole Sakic comes up next on the mighty SOR. All right, we are clear. And I'm going to be honest with you. You know, when Game Vet blew the horn a couple of times, I got excited. I really
love
did.
that. I
got
too.
excited. I'm not going to lie. That has made my entire day.
See, I thought it was just like a Midwest honky kind of thing. Like all of us as kids, it's like when we go out on the interstate.
Right?
We're like,
Totally.
do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That just excited me.
You know, my best story, my best sighting story that I was told from a truck driver was they were going through out west somewhere, I'll say Arizona. And you know how you see the power lines and it's like they have the red lights?
I'm going to run my dog, so you tell the audience. You can see the chat room, right?
No, I can't.
Okay, so if you go up in the right-hand corner, you'll see a little box that says comments.
Yeah.
Click on
and
that.
then I will. Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So
you chat with them. I'll be right back.
This truck driver was driving down the highway and he thought he was seeing the power lines, like the big ones that have the red blinking lights on it. And so he said he kept noticing this one and thought, oh, well, that's strange, because it seems like it's keeping pace with me. Well, he said, as he kept watching it, what he realized, the road was going straight and it was coming, and it crossed in front of the road in front of them and went off into the desert. But he said it was cigar shaped, and on each end was the red light. So at a distance, it was with all the other power lines or power stations that he could see, and it blended right in. And he said it just crossed and went away. And he said he just kept on driving. So they're good and they're out there. I think, who better to watch the skies? The Woo train is full tonight. Now that I can see the chat, everybody's in there. It's a good Tuesday. This night is making it feel like a Saturday now, or Friday. So, Pascal, you're going to have to join one of the roundtables sometime. That's what I'm thinking. It came to me. Just, yep. Now you have to. Dave Altman, I was trying to lounge like you earlier. Like, let's see if I have this down. Oh, my camera's not low enough, but this looks totally comfortable. I know I can't do it as cool as you, so I shouldn't try ever again. I won't. This is complete coffee in here. It's just now midnight here where I'm at, not in Canada. Thanks, Project Blue Book. It is comfortable. Like, I'm here a lot in this space. I've got to make it cushy. And, my day job, I never sit down. I walk around. I'm on my feet for 10 to 12 hours, sometimes 6 or 8 hours. Those are good days. But yes, I never sit down all day. So this feels very weird to sit for a whole show. I'm in Illinois, Dale. Like not Chicago, Illinois, the rest of Illinois. I live in the rest. Solar Warden, I can drink coffee 24/7. Like, it just doesn't, it does help, but it doesn't stop me from sleeping if I want to sleep. St. Louis Blues fan. So I can't even say that team that's from Chicago, or I live an hour away from St. Louis. So when it comes to hockey, I root for the Blues. But when it comes to baseball, the Cardinals can Cub fan all the way.
All right. We are back. We got 1 minute.
Talking sports.
Are we?
Yep. The whole crew's in tonight. It's good.
Nice.
I'll be right back. I'm going to let my dog do something.
All right, we got 1 minute. George Hernandez, how are you? Good to see you. Beverly, for some reason, you're still not being able to hook up here. Well, there you are.
Dave, this is Beverly. Can you hear me?
We got you, finally. Finally. Now you're not there. You disappeared. I don't know why. All right. Bob, we'll get to you momentarily here after we return from the break, so just sit tightly. Little Davey Altman is here, everyone. Give us a wave, Little Davey Altman. Mm-hmm. All right. tonight. Thank you, Anya, for the super chat.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Thank you to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Quackoversial. Quackoversial is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Nicole Sackich. Everything UFOs tonight. Let's just talk about the subject because it is so amazing, this subject. And you know, Nicole, you are someone who is an experiencer, a beautiful researcher who does a lot of hard work. You're finally getting the recognition that you deserve in this field, if you ask me, and I will be the first one to say I may be a little biased on that, but I don't care. I don't care. And we are taking some audience calls tonight. And Beverly, you keep saying your device is not connected. I don't know what is going on with your connection. And we've had a couple other people call in, but they just got too antsy and left right away. So we'll continue on with the UFO talk here. YJ is asking, Nicole, how many aliens do you think are living among us in our society? And what types of positions in society do you think they hold?
Wow. I cannot say I have a definitive answer on that. I mean, you come across researcher and you come across, public figures in this community that say there's various different types of species, or even multiple races of the same species that are visiting us. And some people say there's 5, some people say there's, 10s and 20s and on up. So I feel pretty comfortable saying I believe there are grays out there. What grays are, I don't know. If they're aliens or if they're an android of some sorts or if they're future humans or, etc. But, you hear different accounts, reptilians, Pleiadians, other star children, Nordics. And I mean, one of my favorite people in this community that's so controversial, like Richard Doty, he talks about the Nordics and I always say this one wrong, but the Tarantulas. And I mean,
This is Gut for Popeyes, ISKI code YPDR06950000, titled Nuggets Radio EL, 30 Seconds English Radio.
After Popeyes launched its chicken sandwich...
2 words, Chicken Wars. It's the Chicken Wars.
At Popeyes, we're announcing that the Chicken War is over.
We come in peace.
Because this time, we come in peace. 8-piece. Introducing our new nuggets. Juicy, crispy, and absolutely delicious. Try an 8-piece today for $3.99 and start earning points with Popeyes Rewards. U.S. only. Price and participation may vary. Popeyes Rewards available on digital orders only and subject to terms and conditions.
Unexpected trouble? CashNet USA can take the stress out of borrowing emergency funds. Our fast, secure application process makes it easy to apply online 24/7. Plus, CashNet USA offers same-day funding if approved before 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Additional terms may apply. Visit CashNetUSA.com or tap the banner to apply today.
I don't know. That's just a hard question. I wouldn't dare put a firm answer to it. I mean, like I said, you can come across research, and I don't think it can be discredited or thrown out. But I think a lot of it comes from experiencers too. I've talked to so many people who encounter a being that looks one way, and then throughout the course of their experiences or their abductions, the beings change, like turn into cartoon characters or an animal instead of an alien, or it's not a being, it's just a voice, or it's a light being. So I don't get hung up too much on how many different things are visiting us. I think the phenomenon can manifest however we need it to. So if that's a good enough answer, that's my answer.
But you also have to be prepared for a lot of the rumors, conjecture, the really bad conspiracy theories, like, you know, there are people in high places that are reptilians that are really running the world. The queen is only the age that she is because she's a reptilian who feeds off the blood of human children. You know, I mean, that's where it gets a little dangerous out there so far, if you ask me, because I think that there are aliens among us. I think that they are here. If the humanoid species are out there, I'm sure that they would have an easy time walking around in certain places, you know, whether it's in New York, Las Vegas, London, Paris, wherever. Maybe they have a farm on the outreaches of the big cities of Spain. I don't know, right? But the fact is, I do believe that there is some other extraterrestrial presence here on Earth. I think Robert Bigelow said it perfectly on 60 Minutes back in 2018, where he says, you don't have to go to space to see them. They're already here, right? So I think that is an important line on everything that we need to be able to look at when it comes to the extraterrestrial phenomena on this planet. And I don't think for a minute here that it is how can I put this? That it's not worthy of our understanding that they are not here. I think it's ignorant of us to think that, Nicole.
Well, that's something we argue the points of a lot these days, especially with, you know, the problems that SETI has had lately. You know, why are we spending all this money to look into outer space for ET when, I mean, what are the statistics? I like saying Preston's statistic: 1 in 40 people have an experience or have a sighting. So that's enough people on this planet that you'd think we would look on this planet before we would look in, you know, another galaxy. But I mean, as science evolves and minds stay open and new science is formed, you know, I think these gaps tend to close a little bit. Like the Galileo project, you know, it's promising because of the people involved in it being friendly to the community, but it could also just be a reboot of the search for life in space. And we all know what that leads to: microbes in water somewhere, not a visitor from a, you know, somewhere else. Like, I don't know. And the other thing I often toy with, you know, is in this search, if life's out there, is it now here? You know, we have sent messages into space. How far is Voyager now? How far has the Golden Record made it? Like,
last I heard it was around Neptune.
That would work. Do we seriously? I mean, have we just shit canned that idea? Like, oh, never gonna work. Never gonna work. I need to quit saying the S word. I'm sorry.
Yes, you do. You're causing me editing.
It's my kitchen mouth. I can't turn it off these days.
Nicole Sackage, Potty Mouth, is with us on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Bev, we're going to need you to turn your microphone on in order to hear you. So if you can do that, that would be great. And, okay, Bev's going to tell us her story right now. Go ahead, Bev. She can't hear us because she doesn't have her headphones on. All right. While we're waiting for Bev, the Lazarus Project is asking, what are your thoughts on the Anunnaki?
Maybe. I mean, I think we can find a lot of slivers of truth based on mythology, and I think insights into our culture and ancient culture can give us all sorts of ideas or clues. But I think in the end, we have to realize it's still an interpretation of something that happened thousands and thousands of years ago. I don't discount like the ancient alien theory at all. I do think our planet could have been visited or may have been visited or founded or created, or, I mean, the scenarios are endless. I don't think it's the only answer. Like, I think a lot of people find that ufology early on, you know, when they're searching in this community, and a lot of them can get stuck at that level or just think that that's it. Like, is this what all ufologists think? Like, is this the Bible of ufology? And there's a lot more to it than just that. And yeah.
All right, let's continue on here with another question while we're waiting for Bev. Okay, let's see. No, Bev's going to come on. All right, there we go. We're just going to wait a second for her. There she is. I hope her mic is working. I don't even know if her mic is working. Oh, well, we're going to continue on here. Oh, hold on. We'll try that again. Here. Bev, are you there? Can you hear us? Oh, let's try. No, she's got her microphone on mute. Microphone is on mute. All right, while we're waiting for Bev.
What are your thoughts on the Anunnaki, Dave?
I think the Anunnaki are out there somewhere. I think that they play a more integral role than what we know. I don't believe there has been a lot of communication with them. All right, but I think if we go back, like Major League's question about extraterrestrials depicted in ancient art or cave paintings, true or false, I think we've seen evidence of that in, you know, the ancient Egyptian and Mayan civilizations, where there seems to be some very weird hieroglyphics and cave paintings about extraterrestrials that could be around. I believe that the Anunnaki are an almost like an ancient race that have been here. I think they're still connected to the people here somehow. But what is their role? I have no idea. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're bad. I don't know if they sit on the fence and just watch things happen. Right? We just don't know. We do not know. What's your thoughts on cave paintings and all sorts of art like that? Major League wants to know.
I love that it can be interpreted that way. I just think it's beautiful, this diving into the art side of ufology and what inspires people to create what they see, and, you know, knowing that there's so many forms of that out there now. And obviously when you look into things like that, it makes you dive into the culture that made them as well. And I like the depictions that are out in the American West and the Southwest. I think a lot of them might be Hopi, if I'm remembering correctly. But just to know their connections and their lore within their culture of star beings, or I think of the Australian Aboriginals, and their connection to the heavens and things like that, things that have gone back culturally for thousands of years. I think that means something. I think they were representing something. And so if that can cross generations and speak to us now, then the message survived.
All right, let's see if Bev is here now, because we're trying it really hard to get one of our listeners, Bev, on the air here, because she has a pretty good story. Bev, can you hear us at all? And let's try now. I'm messaging her on here, so let's see if she'll be able to connect with us now. She's got a really good story. She's out of Vancouver. And no, she's mute. All right, Bev, come speak with us. Like, we're all waiting on pins and needles for this.
Yeah, I'm ready to take notes.
I hear you. I just don't think we have a good connection. Bev, I'm going to have to let you go. We're going to have to work on that connection during the break, okay? So try again in just a little bit here. Let's get over to Nicola's question. Nicole, do you think we're contacted, but the government is just not telling us?
I think the government watches people in contact. So I don't think they'll admit it.
I don't think so. I think they are in contact, too, and won't admit it either. Let's go to Bob here. Bob, how you doing? Welcome to Spaced Out Radio.
Bob, is this working?
This is working.
Perfect. How are you guys feeling about the Fire in the Sky crew?
I completely believe Travis Walton. That's how I fall on with this scenario. Like, I really, I had the feeling with this disclosure process happening, it's like, are we going to get a snippet of disclosure? Okay, we might, but then there could be the possibility of disinformation coming. And then the other possibility that was lurking is there's going to be assault on experiencers. Like, we could start being attacked or thrown under the bus again. And so when this family feud in Camp Walton started, arising, that was the first thing that jumped to my mind was we cannot be doing this to experiencers right now. Like, I don't know. I think time has already tested Travis Walton. So there is no reason for this nonsense.
I'm going to jump in here too, Mr. Bob, and I'm going to say that I believe that Travis Walton is telling the truth. His story has not changed in 45 years. He has come out very flagrant when things inaccurately have been told, like the movie Fire in the Sky, that he did not like the way it went because they put some more Hollywood into his experience than what was very necessary to do so. I also look at Mike Rogers, the man who was the head of the crew. It was his company, and at that time Travis was married to his younger sister, and Mike has always backed Travis up until recently, where it became a money issue. And that's where Mike all of a sudden, back in spring, threw out the comments that he was not going to be a witness to the Travis Walton abduction anymore. He didn't say that it didn't happen, but he said there was more to it that people didn't understand. And then he backtracked after him and Travis straightened things out in a very public spat, but they met privately, and then Mike started defending him. And in the meantime, Mike had already done a lot of the damage by going on different podcasts and slinging mud on Travis Walton. And that's kind of what caused a lot of the mishaps that we are seeing today. And so the fact that now we have a bunch of skeptics who are jumping on it, giving the I caught ya kind of BS that they normally do, rather than looking at what's been there, I don't think for a second that that no matter what Travis Walton says, he's going to be the bad guy in this. If he sticks up for himself, he's the bad guy because he's obviously defending his false story to the skeptics. And if he doesn't say anything, the skeptics go, see, he's not saying anything because he is, telling a lie and hiding a lie. What do you think, Mr. Bob?
Now, you guys have got much more depth than I do on this. The reason I brought this up is I was going to bring up a woo story on when you guys were talking about the Southwest. And I was going to a trip. You're talking about the Hopi, the Navajo. And I was going to a trip going through, from Vegas, going across Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, right? And I'm driving through, I stayed on the reservation and Navajo. At Spider Rock, overseeing the Spider Rock monument there. But on the way back from Albuquerque, I'll go down. Actually, before that, I tried to go across and to just go get the vibe in, is it Dulce, New Mexico?
Yeah.
And just to go get the vibe on there. And that didn't feel that great trying to go up there and going through Los Alamos and trying to feel the vibe there. But as I was looking for a place to stay in Los Alamos, I'm driving down and I hear this voice and whispering in my ears, and it says Snowflake. So here I am looking around for a hotel called Snowflake in Los Alamos. Go down, I think it was Santa Fe, headed down to Santa Fe, started looking, could not find it. Great. I'm in there to get a place to stay, and as I'm going across, going to see the big dishes there in, I think it's Socorro, where they have the dishes pointed up, going part of the trip, go and take a look at it there. Then I decided to come back across to, Arizona? And at some point, I'm looking on the map, and I'm doing this freestyle. I'm going, okay, I've got two ways I can go back here. I can go this route or that route. My fingers are moving up on the map, and all of a sudden, I see this place on one of the routes. It's called Snowflake. So I head down this way, and I'll keep the story short because there's a lot more that happened there. But I head down to Snowflake. I meet some very interesting people. Have a few adventures there, and then head back. A year or 2 years later, ended up watching the movie Fire in the Sky again. And it turns out that it's in Snowflake, Arizona, of all places. I'm not sure if you guys remember that, but
yes,
that's so that's my woo story in a sense. And if you want to use that to bring any type of validity to anything happening here, this might just be something there. So Dave, I see the sparkle in your eye there. That's
yes.
my woo story.
Something tells me, Mr. Bob, you have a few more woo stories that you could openly share if you wanted to.
Yeah, and like I typed in there, I will do a little video for your crew for on the energy side, so that they can use that to work on their own energy, because a lot of what you're perceiving, a lot of what you're receiving, a lot of what you're connecting with when you're having these encounters is through your energy body. And that's exactly why, as you were mentioning earlier, you could be standing side by side with somebody and you're having a different experience, because the resonance and what you're able to perceive depends on what is happening with your energy body, right? You see these lights, you see these shapes. Well, it all depends on what you've got that's resonating with this in your own energy field, right? They are all a lot of energy.
Mr. Bob, you hold on right there. I want you to stick around if you want. Nicole Sakic is here. Let's talk UFOs all night long as we have a great show planned here. And we're letting the audience come in and tell us their stories as well. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Hi, Mr. Bob.
Hi, Mr. Bob. Sorry, Beverly.
Beverly's going to come back in. But Mr. Bob.
I just wanted to make sure this worked, and I'm not sure what kind of trouble you're having with Beverly there.
Oh, no, it's working perfectly. You're more than welcome to stick around because you're kind of important.
It is getting late.
I know. Your famous words when it's like, it's up to you.
It's so late, my contacts are like, get out of your eyeballs right now. It's either that or I'm crying over Dave Altman because I can't lounge as good as he does.
Wow. Went there.
So this is happening on YouTube right now, Dave, and you're having a commercial break on the other streams?
On the radio streams, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Bob, are you going to tell everybody how difficult of a student I was for you?
Was it doctor-patient privilege type thing?
I think he just signed the consent for release.
No.
You are. I'm going to say this. Mr. Bob is actually. I recognize the voice is my beautiful friend Pascal, and Pascal. I meant every. I mean every word that I said about you there, my friend, and. You were.
I told him he needs to join the round table.
Pascal, it's funny, Pascal, because, the more bigger you get in this field and the bigger the show gets, a lot of people start.
You're floating on a creamy peanut butter river in a chocolate raft. Is this paradise? This is what biting into a Think creamy peanut butter high protein bar feels like. Fuel your life, power your body. Think. Stand for strong.
What am I doing with this paper shredder? Well, now that C Spire offers no contract, $45 unlimited plan, I don't need to hold on to all these contracts. We're going to need a bigger paper shredder. Keep your number, skip the contract. With no contract, $45 unlimited. Terms and conditions apply. See cspire.com/no contract for plan details.
Calling out a lot of your adventures, a lot of your experiences, a lot of everything as being fake to gain an audience. And you were there for a lot of those experiences and that I had and that I had no understanding or control over at that time. And the fact
it's a lot about personal experience, Dave, right? You can't you can't really force anybody to believe a viewpoint. All you can do is help them to have that experience, and that's what I do with the energy work, right? Is slowly lead them to, okay, well, you want to have these experiences, here's what you can do to achieve that in a safe way.
Very true. Very true. And you've worked personally with me, you've worked with Samantha Mowat, who absolutely adores you as well. And, you've worked with a lot of really good people on this, and it is your true calling. But you know what my best experience with you was? One of the best ones, and that I still can't shake and want to do it again, was when we did the dark room. When we brought we brought in that, we literally had, Nicole, a solar system hovering above us in this completely dark room. And you would see these little specks of orbs take off from this solar system that is literally rotating. It was amazing.
I'm trying to remember, and I won't mention any name, but I think your wife was there with you, right?
Not the first two times.
No.
So it's like a dark room with your own planetarium action going on, right?
You could not. It was so black you could not see your hand in front of your face.
That's great. Yeah. I almost painted this room that color of black, but I went with charcoal gray instead.
People do it in different ways, but it's basically to shut off the senses so that your third eye can take over and you can start seeing and feeling the energy, right?
Yeah. That's a part of, I won't name drop, but some people who having the experience via psychedelics. Or even it's a part of sitting circles and seances and physical mediumship. You know, it's something about the atmosphere of complete, absolute darkness.
Right.
And that third eye. So
it's incredible.
Yeah, the issue that I've got with the psychedelics and the drugs a bit is that it opens it up, but then you have some issues closing it. Right? It kind of goes outside of your control. So you got to be really, really, really careful and working with somebody who really, really, really knows what they're doing with that.
I think the question I have posed right now, or that's lingering concerning the psychedelics, is like you just mentioned. It's like once it's on, are you more susceptible, or is it the fact that you can't turn it off?
If you do it the natural way, you've got more control over it, so you become aware of the different currents.
Hold on, Pascal. I gotta. Do you want to stick around?
You tell me.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you have missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Let's Talk UFOs. Let us get right into the subject, and Nicole Sakich is with us. She is a research assistant for Grant Camlin, one of the brilliant new minds on the UFO field. And we also have a special guest here, which is a friend of mine who has never, ever talked to me on this show. And this is a man who is so important to me. His name is Pascal, and he literally is my spiritual guru, my Zen master, and my mentor in this field that deals with everything supernatural and ufological. Pascal, Nicole, welcome back.
Dave, thank you. Pascal, I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, Dave, I think you give me too much credit.
Nope.
But, yes. So, I can give you another woo story if you want.
Sure.
Bring it.
And I don't know if you consider this UFO or spirit or what, but about 10 years ago, I was in somewhere else at that point, and my girlfriend at the time was open to energy work, and she was very sensitive and able to perceive things. Anyways, at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden, I get woken up by screaming like bloody murder. She was on the bed, on all fours, looking around like there was a monster on the ground somewhere or something. And all that after she stopped screaming, she told me she saw this big blue ball of light hovering over the bed. And I guess she got woken up by the sensation, and kind of you feel that something is there, and she started screaming. So you wake up, you're half awake, and she's basically telling me, what happened. And I go, oh, that's okay. They come around once in a while. Just go back to bed. Well, that didn't work. But that's the type of experience people can have once they start opening up, right? Is they will get these things happening to them.
Very true. Pascal is also the one who helped me learn how to control my channeling.
Ooh.
Yes. He took me to some pretty weird places regarding the aliens. He's the one who told me point blank, by the way, my guides, Dave, are telling you that we got to introduce you to some extraterrestrials and ETs, as he called them. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to go there. Do not want to go there whatsoever. Yet you forced me to do it, or you made me brave to do it. I'm going to put it that way, Pascal. You made me brave to do it.
Nice. And now here you are, and look at everything that's happened.
Yeah. Right. Now I get abducted. Thanks, buddy.
No, now you know.
Yeah, now I know I've been. Pascal, Steve in Australia says, I need to know more about you and your energy work. I practiced this already, but you sound like you could really amp up his vibe.
Ooh.
So the energy work is very simple, right? You can think of it as when you go to the gym, you do a workout and you get to feel kind of what parts of the body you need to work out, right? So if you go to the gym and you try running 100 miles an hour on a treadmill, guess what? Your knees, your legs, everything's going to say, hey, you need some practice, you need some work, right? In the energy work, it's all about the amount of energy that you can carry and channel, right? There's like what level of flow can you be in? And the type of work I do with most people is we basically, and I think I did this with you, Dave, is we basically amp up the energy. So between me and you, we work together and we bring up the energy and we just let it rip through your system, gently enough, and then we keep pushing and pushing and pushing until we start feeling where the friction is, right? And then that tells me, okay, you got different areas here that need to be worked on. We work on them. The releases happen. A lot of times there's emotional stuff that comes out. And then guess what? After that, you are able to carry more energy, right? You're able to do a bigger workout. Now, this, if you look at a car and you're driving your 1977 Chevette down the road, and you drive it at 40 kilometers an hour or 40 miles an hour, it's not bad. But if all of a sudden you start driving it at 160 kilometers an hour or 120 miles per hour, guess what? You're going to start feeling every rattle in the car. It's pretty much the same thing, right? We look at what rattles, we fix it up, and then we send you on your way so that you can use that extra energy, your gifts, for whatever your path, your purpose, your direction is. That's pretty much all that is. And what helps me do that is the ability to be more sensitive and be able to tune in to what is going on in your field as we're doing this. So I get to feel in my body exactly what's going on in your field. And from that, I'm able to guide you to say, hey, what do you feel over here? Like, Nicole, what do you feel in your neck, on the back of the neck, right? What do you feel there that there's a pressure happening there? And as I work with people, right, putting their attention on that, then they become